Hey everyone, this is Hala P from the Geek Pipeline, and this is my review of the ZTE Blade Z Max. This is a device that is being sold by Metro PCS. Metro PCS, if you're not familiar, rides on the T-Mobile network, and this device allows for bands 2, 4, 5, 12, and 66 on the T-Mobile network. Obviously, no band 71 yet. And well, obviously, this device will never support that, but devices will be coming soon to support that on T-Mobile. But that's not what this review is about. So, with no further ado, the ZTE Blade Z Max from ZTE and Metro PCS. For an overview, the size is big. I'm not going to lie, this is a big device. It's 6.5 inches long by 3 1/3 inches wide. It's not bad to hold, but it is a big device. Now, one thing they did do nicely is the thickness. The thickness is only 8.4 millimeters, pretty thin for by today's standards. So the thickness is nice, which makes it a lot easier to hold in your hand. What also makes it nice to hold in your hand is the rubberized backing that they have on here. I can try and get a close-up of the texture that they have going there. And when it comes to phones, I'm not a big person on design. I take practicality over design any day. I want the phone to work. I want it to do what I need it to do. It doesn't have to look pretty. I mean, it can't be totally ugly either, but I'd rather have a device that works and is easy to use and fun to use and to hold than something that looks nice and I can't stand using. So I'm not I don't care much that they use the rubberized backing. I know a lot of people are sold on either having all metal or glass or all the different types of plastic even backing that they have. But this is a nice material to help hold the phone. And unfortunately, it does not come off, so no removable battery. But they did a nice job with the texture. There are your standard power and volume rocker buttons on this side of the device. And on the top, we have a microphone opening. And on the side, we have a SIM card slot, which also acts as a micro SD card slot as well. And on the bottom, we're looking at USB-C, Fast Charge 2.0, and another mic opening, and a 3.5 millimeter headset jack, which I know a lot of people are still fans of. But do note that this is on the bottom of the device, not the top, as is typical with phones. I know it does come on the bottom on a lot, but I think more times than not you see it on the top. On the back, dual camera. I'll get into that more a little bit with flash. Fingerprint sensor, ZTE branding. Speaker, single speaker, located on the back, not the bottom or top or front. I'll get into that more later as well. And on the front, you also have your selfie camera. Get it at an angle you can see there. Your selfie camera, your earpiece so you can talk on the phone, and your miscellaneous sensors. You also do have capacitive keys. I don't think you can see them very well there, but I will turn it on. Now you can see them. They do light, and they are there. I am a fan of capacitive keys, so I like that they're there. I also like that they're lit. So kudos to ZTE for providing both of those options, at least because I prefer them, but I know other people don't. So that's kind of the overview of the design and the hardware. Can't think of anything else hardware spec wise or anything as far as just the looks go. As far as software, you're going to get Android Nougat 7.11. very bare bones Android on this device. It's not bogged down by a heavy overlay. It doesn't have ZTE's Me Favor overloaded on it. It's for the most part basic Android, which I like. And there are a few Metro PCS apps, as you would expect to find on a carrier branded phone. So there is that. They're mostly to help you if you are a Metro PCS customer. So you can't really complain about that too much. As far as the display goes, 6-inch full HD IPS display. It looks very nice. There's no complaints about it. I know this won't do it justice, but it looks a lot bluer than I see when I look at it directly. It's fairly black. The blacks are nice. It gets very bright. It's a nice screen. Very much the same screen, if not the same screen as on the Z Max Pro. You get 2.5D curved edges. You get dragon tail scratch resistance, which a lot of people haven't used yet, but I'm fairly impressed with it so far. I have no scratches. I don't have a screen protector on. I have used it a fair amount. I have kept it in a bag a fair amount as well. So no complaints as far as that versus Gorilla Glass. And the screen ratio is pretty solid for a budget device. It's around 71% screen to body ratio. You know, the bezels are fairly thin on the sides. The top one's not so bad. The bottom one's fairly thick, but you do have those capacitive buttons there. So to me, it doesn't bother me at all. And then that ranges out to 367 pixels per inch on the display. Moving on to other hardware. As far as CPU, we have the 1.4 gigahertz octa-core Snapdragon 435 processor running in here. I won't lie, it's not the most powerful processor in the world. However, it does improve with battery life, and I will get to battery life later in the review, since this is one of the best features of this device is the battery. But so the 435 Snapdragon, it does its job. You're not going to buy this phone to do heavy video gaming. You're not going to buy it to do any sort of heavy, intense GPU graphics type things. It's a budget phone. It does email fine. It does everything else fine. You'll be hard pressed to find a device with these specs and get anything better. It uses an Adreno 505 GPU for gaming and video. You'll get through some basic games with no problem, but again, your heavy, intense graphics games, it's not made for that. So don't, look for it to do that type of thing. 2 gig of RAM, little disappointed. I will admit, I wanted at least 3 for a budget device. Matched with the low-powered processor, it lags a little bit, but again, you're getting what you pay for. You're getting more than what you pay for on this device. So I can't really complain about it. It does exactly what I figured it would do, I guess, put it that way. It's not bad by any means, but it's not, a Samsung or even a ZTE Axon 7. That's not what you're paying for here. USB connector, believe supporting Quick Charge 2.0 from Qualcomm. So it does have a rather large battery, and that comes in handy. Quick Charge comes in handy to at least get it juiced up fairly fast. Speaking of the battery, it's a 4080 milliamp battery. This thing is big, does not add a lot of weight to the device, which makes this device nice to hold, like I said, for long periods of time. I've had other devices that are very heavy, and you get hand fatigue. This one is not bad at all. It has accelerometer, magnetometer, gyroscope, your basic sensors on here. Fingerprint sensor, one of the best that I've ever used. Awesome for a budget device. I mean, and it works every time. I don't know about all of you, but I can wait a half a second for my screen to come on when I'm unlocking my phone. It's not that big a deal. But this thing is dead accurate. I seldom get a misread error on my fingerprint. So kudos for the quality on that. on that bad boy. Bluetooth version is 4.2. So for the most part, the latest that's coming in devices. I know if you have 5.0, but from a budget device, you won't get any better than 4.2. Like I stated, 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. I know a lot of people will be happy with that. I went all Bluetooth already, so it's not that big a deal to me. However, I did test the quality. I'll get to that in a little bit. Or actually, I'll just talk about it now. Quality on the headset jack is very good. ZTE, well, I know I will get to the sound in a little bit. I'll hold off on that one. Wi-Fi, it only supports 2.4 gigahertz, 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi BGN. No 5 gigahertz on this, but again, for a budget device, I wouldn't expect it anyway. Dolby surround sound, Dolby Atmos included on this device. SD card slot, I believe up to 128 gig, but don't quote me on that one. I don't know for sure on that one. Didn't do my homework on it. It's only a single SIM card slot, so no international roaming or anything of that type. It's a dual slot, or it has dual ports on it, because one is for the micro SD, one's for the SIM. There's not a slot for a second SIM, so no capability on that. And included in the hardware also is an FM radio. Not a big thing for me. I stream my music. However, I do know that people still ask for an FM radio, and there's an app included along with it, so it does work. I tried it. It's a bonus, I guess, if you look for that type of thing. Not many people mention it anymore. It's not included with many phones anymore, but it's there. Moving on to the cameras. Front has an 8 megapixel selfie. Dual rear cameras, as I stated. One 16 megapixel and one 2 megapixel monochrome. Allows for things like portrait mode or the bokeh effect, where you can focus on things in a picture and artificially blur the rest. And the monochrome allows you to do shooting where you only want one color. It's all black and white except for one color, like red or green or blue, and you can pick which color you want to stand out. Very nice features, and to be honest with you, the cameras work pretty well for a budget phone. It's not going to get you awesome shots in low light situations. Almost no camera does, first of all, and on a budget phone, I wouldn't expect anything different. However, playing around with the features like bokeh and portrait and the monochrome thing really turned out some great pictures. I'll try and do an overlay of some of the pictures that I've taken on this video, but I'm no master YouTuber by any means, so I'll see what I can do. There's also panoramic mode, multi-exposure, time-lapse mode. Video records at 1080p, 30 frames, so standard, basically HD. And again, for the price, the cameras worked very well. If you're looking for a budget phone that takes good pictures and just basically does everything well, this is not a bad device to go with. Now, for that battery. As I stated, 4,080 milliamp hours of battery on here. That is a nice size battery, especially because the screen is a 6-inch. But with only 1080p resolution and the 435 SoC processor and the 505 Adreno, all power saving features, this thing lasts for a long time. I typically get anywhere from 7 to 8 hours of screen on time. I can get up to 10 to 12 if I'm really pushing it, and I can get 2 full days of standard use out of this device without having to recharge. This thing is awesome for battery. I find myself going back to this phone, even though I don't necessarily think it's a daily driver for everybody, because it does run into some lag issues if you're a very intense user. If you're a standard user, the battery life on this thing is just awesome. I can't say enough about that. And then the audio. The single speaker on the back, not a fan of it. Can't set it down and make it sound good. It's a single speaker. It's not going to be, worlds apart audio. It does get very loud. I will admit that, which is important to some people. Loud without being too distorted, I should say. Again, headphone jack and Bluetooth audio quality, excellent. They get very loud, without distorting. You can use the Dolby Atmos with both of those audio instances as well, and they sound great. Again, for all this packed into a $130 device on Metro PCS, I don't know how they did it, to be honest with you, because this is the cat's meow. For a budget phone with a 6-inch screen, a huge battery, a great display, awesome audio as long as you're using a Bluetooth speaker or headphones. I can't really find any fault with it unless you're a power user, and if you're a power user, you're not buying this device anyway. Great for a backup if you want, if you're a power user, something of that nature. Again, you have to be on Metro PCS. No word if it will be coming out on T-Mobile's network like the Z Max Pro did. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case. And I'm not sure. A lot of times, Metro PCS does allow you to unlock it to use on other carriers. I don't have any word whether or not that is working or will work in the future, so I'm not sure on that as well. But just an awesome device from ZTE. I was very impressed with it. I came into this phone thinking I wasn't going to like it, and I have found reasons to keep going back to it as a daily driver just because the battery life has impressed me so much. But that's all I have for now on the ZTE Blade Z Max. Hopefully you enjoyed my video. I don't edit too much, so I'm sorry for all the misworded errors and the pauses and things. I'll try to get some pictures overlaid on the top of it before I load it up. But this is Jalapy from Geek Pipeline, and hopefully you enjoyed the ZTE Blade Z Max. Thank you.